And we are back. And we just finished watching 2019's Uncut Gems, rated R, with a runtime of 2 hours and 15 minutes. This was directed by the Safdie Brothers, Josh and Benny, with a screenplay credit to Ronald Bronstein, Josh Safdie, and Benny Safdie. This is the story of Howard Ratner, exquisitely played by Adam Sandler, who I'm going to out myself. I was not a huge fan of his early career. I didn't get him on Saturday Night Live. I hated all those comedies he did. And I wasn't a fan until we saw Punch Drunk Love. And I love when he plays against type. I love when he is not kind of this silly buffoon. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being a silly buffoon, but I think I appreciate him more as like a serious actor.
Yeah, I mean, I would say most of his comedy stuff falls along the same lines of just sort of like the simple guy who is secretly just some rage-filled idiot.
Yeah. And it just seemed like it was the same movie repackaged in a different way.
The same character. Yeah.
So, I mean, God bless him. He made a killing. Had a huge career doing that stuff. But I, as a viewer, actually like when he plays against type. And he was definitely against type in Punch Drunk Love. And he is definitely against type in this. I know we recently saw like Murder Mystery with Jennifer Aniston and Hubie Halloween with what's her name from Modern Family. But this movie, wow.
Yeah. The thing I was just talking to you about, like, seriously, I could not stand him for most of this film, but by the end, I'm like really rooting for the guy.
You know what? I co-sign that he did a lot of stupid things, but I never didn't like him in this film. Obviously I wouldn't want to live near him. I wouldn't want to be married to him. I wouldn't want my daughter to be married to him, or daughters to be married to him.
I wouldn't want to be friends with him.
I wouldn't want to be friends with him. But there was something charming about him because in spite of all... But hear me out. In spite of all his shortcomings, in spite of all his fuck-ups, people still, like, did favors for him. His father-in-law, his different little associates. I mean, they still...
Well, I mean, he had business relationships with these people, but I don't think Lakeith was ever his friend.
No, I don't think Lakeith was ever his friend, but I still think that when you deal with somebody, even if they puts you in a murderous rage, you still know them, right? And even though he wasn't the nicest guy to Lakeith, like that whole thing with the Kevin Garnett thing where like those two bodyguards come and rough up Arnold's bodyguards, like none of that had to happen. And then that guy Flawless, he's nice to him and he lets him get back into the club. And then you hear him like, oh, are you going to have my crucifix? Like, I need it. I'm going to come by for it tomorrow. And you're thinking, oh my God, like, he sold that like 4 transactions ago. How the fuck is he getting that back? And I'm sure even though he jerked a lot of people over, I'm sure, and even though his wife was all done with him, I'm sure people are going to be very sad when they realize that he is no longer on this astral plane. There was something about him. I'm again, very flawed character. I mean, we were sitting there, and I don't know how many times I said, "Oh my God."
Do you want to? I mean, you pretty much spoiled the end. I was trying to avoid that.
Oh, it's from 2019.
I know, but I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was like, "Oh,
we were both."
I was happy I didn't know what happened. I didn't know if he was going to die or if he was going to make it. I didn't know what kind of film this was heading towards.
Yeah. The only reason I knew is because I'd read about it. So, but this was on my list to watch for a long, long time. I'm happy that we finally got to it, and it did not disappoint as far as I'm concerned.
No, it was really good.
Yeah,
and like I said, it's a good story when you can make somebody. Because seriously, he was annoying. He was annoying through the whole. Like all those people deserved. Like they were right in like every time they saw him coming to roll their eyes. Like especially those like women at the auction house, like that lady who was handling the phone.
Yeah.
She was right 100% when she saw this guy because he was just annoying. As soon as he walks into any building or public area, he's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Cursing about everything, whining, complaining, bitching. and it's like you're the one who's screwing everybody over. You're taking people's stuff, you're pawning it to get money so you could bet.
It's like a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, exactly. He is like the ultimate scheming scumbag.
But okay,
he's cheating on his wife.
I completely agree with you, but I think the interesting thing about this,
he was not charming.
Okay, maybe charming is not the right word, but in that wheelhouse of charming, people that are involved in Ponzi schemes are involved because there's something charismatic about them. There's something about them that makes you want to give them.
They're good salesmen.
They're good salesmen. And I think that that's sort of what Howard was too.
Well, he literally was. I mean, he was a diamond salesman.
Yeah. So I think that he operated on like this different sort of, how do I even explain this? He was just like, yeah, I mean, he's a schemer. He is absolutely a schemer, but he's also sort of like a survivalist. It's like, okay, what can I do to make this thing happen? Or what can I bargain with to make this other thing happen? And I mean, he was fearless. Like, I would never, ever in a million years think like, oh, this Celtic ring that was just given to me. Yeah, I'm going to pawn it.
Yeah, and then
till Friday, and then completely forget. And he didn't forget about it. He goes on Monday, and the guy was like, "Are you being real right now? Because like now I'm taking this ring and the other ring, and you're gonna give me more percentage on it." So I think that, but he still kind of, even though he drove people mad, I think that having him not be there anymore is going to severely impact people. And I know that, like, listen, the wife was all done with him, but I think that
she still had 3 kids by him.
Exactly. These kids are going to grow up without a father. I mean, they're mostly younger kids, right? I mean, I think his oldest is maybe high school, right? So, and I mean, and the way it happens too, it's just so,
it's very jarring.
It's
Seriously,
very
it's
jarring.
Like,
you don't expect
this guy, the whole film is just defeat after defeat after. Even when he wins, he's defeated.
Yeah.
And then he finally wins, and he's defeated. It's
maddening to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, kudos to that crazy enforcer guy, because you could see he is like seething through the entire movie.
Yeah,
and
he's
then
like
and
a
then it's
simmering.
Just like, yeah, and
pot on the oven. Yeah. It was wild. I didn't expect that. And then the double whammy there, I didn't expect that either. I was like, it's funny because when it happened, I looked over at you and you were like,
I was shocked.
Stunned.
I thought it was
stunned
because like Bogosian, Arno. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe this dude pulled it off.
Right.
And it's like, I don't even care that I was in this situation that was like uncomfortable for like 2 hours, I guess, or 3 hours, however long it took. He did it. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's just like over.
Oh.
That was crazy.
That was wild. That ending was wild.
And he's like, Arno, he's sort of like almost emotionless throughout most of the thing, and then finally you see a bit of a turn. He's like upset the entire movie because basically he's like related to this piece of shit that owes him just so much money and is just such a screw up. And oh my God, he's fine. He's going to settle the loan, I guess, but now he's screwing it up again. And I'm related to this guy. What am I supposed to do? And then it's like a weight is lifted off of Arno.
Yeah.
And then this terrible stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it's like he realizes, oh my God, this is
not what I wanted.
I made this situation because this guy works for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like,
this is not what I wanted.
You need to screen your employees better. I mean, I understand you're in a sort of unsavory work environment there, but still.
Yeah, that was wild. I didn't expect. I knew about the one, but I didn't expect the other, and I was just like, "What in the hell? What just happened?"
Jesus.
Great performances, everybody from top
was
to bottom.
in
Like
this,
even Tilda Swinton on the phone.
Oh,
she
that's
was
right.
that woman, Anne.
You said that was her.
Yeah. I always confuse her and Kate Blanchett. I'm sorry. It's not that they're similar. It's just that they sound similar to me. Their voices sound to me. Right. Yeah. Because sometimes when I hear Kate Blanchett, I was like, is that Tilda Swinton? And sometimes when I hear Tilda Swinton, I'm like, is that Kate Blanchett? Which I feel like is an easy mistake to make. They sound very similar. They do not look similar, but they sound very similar.
Yeah, I think I made that mistake once when we were watching something else.
I think Pinocchio, when we were watching Toro's Pinocchio,
right,
I was like,
they're both in it.
They're both in it.
And their names are in the credits, and I was like, oh, that's Kate Blanchett as the narrator. And you're like, no, that's Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, who's Kate Blanchett? And it's like, oh, it's the
fucking monkey. It's amazing. It's amazing. But yeah, I'm completely floored by this film. Wow. Adam Sandler deserves all the recognition. I love when he does stuff like this, because this is not the stupid cookie cutter.
Running around hitting people.
Right. Anger management kind of character. This is very layered. It's very nuanced. Like you said, he's not a likable guy, but you really are rooting for him and you want him to get that win in his column.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, from where this starts to where this ends, it was quite the ride. I wonder if at the end Jules is going to run off with this money, because I mean, technically the debt is canceled because there's no one there to collect and there's no one there to pay it. So
seriously, who does he owe money to?
And I thought something weird was happening at the end there. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Was that Mickey Rourke?
I have to. You know what? It's funny that you said that. I'm gonna go look now, because I was like, "What in the hell? Did something happen to this chick?" Because
I thought they were gonna go back up to his hotel room and then.
I know. I thought he was gonna
in a bathtub
her.
dead or something.
Mantis is in this. I don't even remember her, but apparently she's in this.
Tom Clementif.
Yeah. Kevin Garnett as himself.
A lot of people as themselves in this movie.
Yes. The Weeknd as himself.
The dad from Good Times.
The dad from Good Times as himself. That's right. I forgot that he was in that.
Yeah, for like a hot second. And it's sort of.
And Judd Hirsch's character's name was Gooey, which that made me laugh. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? They have John Amos, neighbor 33F. That's hilarious. No, it's not Mickey Rourke. It's some guy named Wayne Diamond as the high roller. But it did look like Mickey Rourke. It's so funny because I was like, I couldn't tell, but I was like, I don't think that's Mickey Rourke's voice.
Yeah, the voice was different, but it looked like his face.
It kind of looked like him,
but his face is sort of buried underneath all that shaggy
crazy hair. He's got that beef jerky face, so it's like too much sun.
Tough catcher's mitt of a face.
Yeah, that guy needs to put on some sunblock. But yeah, wow, this movie was something. It was something. If you haven't seen it, absolutely. Where do we catch it, on Showtime?
We caught it on Showtime, which I guess they got the rights to show it now.
Yeah,
which means it's probably on the
app,
on the Showtime Anytime app.
Yeah, or you can buy and rent it on Amazon. But yeah, do yourself a favor. Obviously, this is not a movie for children. This is rated R for a reason.
Probably for the excessive
language,
massive use of the F word. It is.
I know. Could you imagine doing a drinking game to that?
Oh my god.
It's like alcohol poisoning.
It's definitely in the hundreds.
At least.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying the word. Yeah. Everybody. Again, Uncut Gems 2019, rated R, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Amazing. Go, run, don't walk to go check this out on Showtime. I would give this, I'm going to give this an 8.5.
Yeah, I'd do the same. 8.5.
It was
good. I'd even give it a 9. It's good.
You know what? You're right. It is a 9 movie.
Everybody's performance was great. The story was compelling. Like I said, I like that they made me take a guy who really was just such an asshole throughout the whole movie, and I hated, but I was rooting for him.
Yeah.
I really. That's the mark of a good story, when they could do that.
Yeah.
So
when you make an unlikable character, when you feel compassion and empathy, and it's like, oh yeah. Gosh, that was really good. I'm glad we finally caught it. Yeah.
All
right. That's it from us. 9-9. Absolutely. Run, don't walk, and check out Uncut Gems. And that's it from us. And we will bid you all a good night.
Good night.